Right, and we're back with another episode of the On The Bench podcast, episode 43. It's another one, and we've got a very, very, very special guest today. Football agent, run your own agency company, would you say?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, football agent. Very interesting conversation we're going to have. We're going to ask him about stuff like, what's it like being a football agent? How did he get into it? And stuff like that. So, and I've never spoken to a football agent before, so very interested to see what you got to say, man. And then also on the bench today, we're going to go from my right to the left today. We got Mr. Tony Tone. I think this guy, are you on the run? Are you on the run?
What, because I come in with a different hairstyle?
You must be on the run. What's that movie? Jason Bourne or something?
Bourne Identity.
Yeah, you're like, I swear, he's always got a different do, man.
It's the same do. I'm wearing a hat.
It's the same dude.
I'm wearing a hat.
It's the fugitive, isn't it?
Before the hat was covering it all, you know what I mean?
You look like Mo Salah's uncle, nephew looking type of thing, man. What's going on today?
Nothing, man. I took my braids out.
Toe Salah.
Toe Salah.
Anything to get the Salon door up and running, I'll take it.
Cool, man. Good doing it. How you been, man?
Yeah, good. Just living life, you know.
Okay, sick, man.
Another week.
To my left, we got the Man United man. You know his nickname already, Mr. Grumpy, a.k.a. Mr. Roy Keane, the Christmas Grinch. And he's a bit upset because Man United got knocked out of the FA Cup. How you doing today? How you doing today, Frank?
Yeah, I'm over it, man. I'm over it. We got a big game on Thursday, so we'll probably got out of that as well by next week.
You excited?
No, I wouldn't say excited. I'm worried, to be honest.
Worried?
Yeah, of course, man. It's Sociedad are a decent team, and we always struggle against Spanish teams. Hey,
You're the biggest club in England.
on paper we are, but unfortunately football's played on grass, isn't it? So yeah, so yeah.
Not paper. All right, let's jump into these questions, man. So, first of all, we're gonna ask you a question. Who are you? Where are you from? And yeah, who are you?
So my name's Igor. I'm obviously from Bosnia originally.
Okay.
Came to England after the war in Bosnia, well, during the war even.
Yeah.
We've been here since 94. Brought up in London, living in London, working in London. So doing the football agency thing, being a football agent. Yeah, man.
Okay, sick. So what was your job before becoming a football agent? Like, can you give us a bit of your work background and
So what it is, obviously, everyone has a story and the way they think. I've always been an entrepreneur, doing different things. So for me, loving football, growing up with football, playing football, obviously not at that level that we all want to be at. Well, you know, trying my best to make in the football industry. And then obviously a few years back, I was always around footballs because I had a company working with footballers, but not directly, as in myself.
Okay.
I would help make deals, break deals. So I kind of be in the background of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then 3-4 years ago, probably a year before Corona, they said to me, you should become a football agent in your own right.
Yeah.
I started looking into it. Then I was stuck in between coaching and agency work. And then, to be honest with you, in 2000 in March, I was supposed to go in Sampdoria to start coaching.
Oh, sick! Yeah.
Yeah, literally with with a very famous person who's obviously managing his story there. And then and the whole Corona thing came, the red zones. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember
you couldn't
Corona.
go to certain places. Yeah, you remember Corona. Yeah, you didn't forget that one. Even though it feels mad, like
it was the 5-year anniversary like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What, they got anniversary for Corona?
Oh,
Like the
March
first
2019,
lockdown,
the first lockdown. Yeah,
I kind of missed
that's
it.
crazy. It's been 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good weather, drinking gin every day.
yeah. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
But it seems like ages ago, innit? It seems like yesterday, but it seems like ages ago. Man. So yeah, anyway, it was a 2-road way. I was either going to go into serious football coaching or into agency.
Okay.
And then kind of the Corona thing pushed me towards the agency more.
Yeah.
And that's when I took it seriously and, you know, got my own players, started doing my own thing and,
Sick.
you know, building my kind of reputation for myself.
Yeah. So you've always been in the football world, then that's always been your thing you've done, work-wise.
You know how it is, man. 99% of boys, that's their dream, innit?
Yeah.
To be a footballer, to do work with football, I don't know, to carry water balls, whatever it takes. You know, always, you know, I used to apply for jobs to do anything in football. Do you know what I mean? That's the dream, isn't it? So obviously for me, you know, it's not real that someone like myself from the background which I came from, obviously, you know, working your way up, that, you know, when I look at my phone, I get certain messages from certain footballers that for me, I could never imagine as a 10, 12, 13-year-old boy, do you know what I mean, meeting and playing, especially, you know, being a lifelong United fan, unfortunately.
The way you stuttered while you're saying
anytime you
it.
feel a bit upset, I show you this button does. So that's like Man United.
Bro, this needs to be pressed on. This needs to be done for the last 10 seasons.
Anytime you get a bit angry, just, you can press that button, the red button.
I know, So obviously, you know, for me, it was overwhelming when you look at the kind of people you're in contact with, and it's not real because obviously you guys are fans just like me. When you look at football head on, in terms of when you look at the games, you go to the matches, you follow, you only know one side. And then when you start working in any capacity in the background, whether it be as a journalist, as an agent, as a coach, obviously, best scenario would be as a player.
I got a question for you quickly.
Go on.
How do you balance like being a fan but also working with players? Like, how do you balance it?
That's a good
Do
question.
you know what? I don't even know.
Take your emotions out. That's what I said.
Yeah.
To take your emotions out of it. How do you
Do you know
balance
what? Do you
that?
know what it is? I think for me, obviously, I hit the Man United scenario that obviously for the last 10 years we haven't been where I grew up, right? So for me, it was kind of easy not to distance yourself, but you look at professionalism, isn't it? You deal in a professional way with certain scenarios. Like for me, obviously, everything up until I started doing this job, you know, officially, it was like, you know, Man United, heartwarming, you know, like crazy fan mode. But now you kind of look at things, and sometimes I think for me, I don't want to say this to sound negative, but when you work in football, it sometimes ruins the dream. And what I mean by ruining the dream is that you actually see the background, because all we as fans see, we go to Old Trafford, to White Hart Lane, wherever, Emirates Stadium, wherever we're going to, we see the game. We see 11 against 11, we think like it's all, you know, like it's all roses, but it's not. So sometimes when you look at the back, it does ruin it because you see how things are made and how you achieve that Premier League game status.
Okay,
basically.
so that's what kind of keeps your emotions out of things when it comes to working with certain people.
And you sometimes you look at certain footballers or agents or, you know, like managers, owners of clubs, and you look at the way that they carry themselves. And me as a fan, I would react completely differently. But you as a professional person working in the entity, wow, miles apart how you react.
Sit. I got another question for you. What do football agents actually do? Like, what do you actually do behind the scenes?
Nothing, man. We just sit at home. What do you mean?
Nah, because
we do podcasts.
Yes. That's it. All right, because to us, I believe a football agent just makes deals happen. If a player wants to go from Arsenal to Real Madrid, whatever, that's it. But is there actually more that actually goes into being a football agent?
Do you know what's funny? So obviously, before I started doing my own deals and getting my own players, I'd obviously mirror people and new agents that were, you know, very, very highly thought of. So when I looked at them, they say to me, what, you want to be calling QPR and, you know, selling X, Y, and Z? And how are you going to get that message across that that team wants to take that player? And I was like, you're right. Because for me, I had that same impression that you have now, which is, I don't know, you're the agent of Ronaldo. Okay, Ronaldo's, you know, you'll get phone calls, but it doesn't quite work like that. Because even a person like Ronaldo, as you saw with the whole Man United thing, there's only certain clubs that can afford that type of player. That's the same thing goes for any level. Every single player has its own club. So what you need to do is you need to find the player, the timing of his career, where to place him, which club. Because, you know, it's like if you're selling a Mercedes to someone that can afford a Ford, they'd love a Mercedes, but they can't afford it. Or you can't sell to someone a Ford that wants a Mercedes because it doesn't fit the bill. So you need to research your players, you need to research your clubs, the budgets, the fans, everything, systems of play. So what your job is really is knowing the game.
Okay, sick.
Sorry, let me ask a follow-up question from that, actually. So with regards to, I can't even take it.
No.
With regards
Ronaldo's
to,
not coming back to Man United.
No.
I just want to let you know that.
No, what I was going to say is with regards to, like, when you're saying, like, the fans and, you know, knowing the right club for the right player, so that means you have to have contacts within the clubs. What level of contacts do you normally try and get to, and what like, let's say, for example, I want to transfer, or you want to transfer a player from Man United to, I don't know, Roma, for example. Yeah. Who are the sort of people that you need to contact? Is it the players, like the other, like, is it the president? Is it the sporting director? Is it the technical director? Is that how it works?
So obviously in football, in the modern era, the most important, one of the most powerful people is the sporting director.
Okay.
You know, obviously the big thing when Eddie left Arsenal and stuff like that, he done a lot of things there. And, you know, sporting directors can make and break football clubs. Really, they now can. So for us, you know, sporting director. For me personally, I would go who my best contact is. because at the end of the day, you going what does a football agent do? Essentially, you need to have good contacts, good personal relationships, and be able to do the best you can for your player. Because at the end of the day, don't forget this: we're working for the player.
Yeah.
So the player is our client. We have to do the best thing, and that means you got to do your due diligence, which is very important. And UEFA have changed the stance on this and stuff like that. So we got to do our due diligence on the player to make sure that we find the right place and do the best we can for them.
So if a player say like a player's got his heart set on something, is there any clashes that happen? Like, do you lot say, no, listen, we believe this is the best deal for you, but they're like, no, I want to go here. How do you navigate around that?
That's a good question,
especially with say like it's a stubborn player, like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to go here. That's it.
So do you know
Final.
what? It's funny with that because I've been building a career of a certain player of mine. He's a young boy, 23 years old, and my advice to him recently, a few months back in January, was sign the contract. But he was saying to me he doesn't want to sign the contract.
Yeah.
Now I explained to him.
So was that moving club or?
That was staying in the same club.
Oh, staying in the same club. Okay,
but the contract was much, much better, right? So the way that I looked at it, I said to him, look, my professional ways, X, Y, and Z, but I understand why you don't want to sign because obviously in the summer you want to be free and able to move and to do things, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you're not signed with the club doesn't protect you as much. What I mean by that is that if your contract's up in the summer, unless you're a Mo Salah, a Trent or a Van Dijk, these are special players. They're gonna play regardless. Sometimes the politics within the clubs will push you out to the side, and what they'll do to that, they'll not allow you to play. Basically, they'll make sure they do everything for you not to play. So if you're on a good run of form, let's say for the last year, and then sometimes it's better to sign that contract, stay at that club, than be a free agent. But I just said I have that scenario now where my professional advice was sign. He didn't want to, and you know what? In the end, we didn't sign. Because at the end of the day, what matters is what the player thinks. We work for them.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't want to sign, what can I do?
Okay, so you can try and persuade him as much.
Yeah, so you don't persuade.
Yeah, not persuade, but
the way I do is advice. I advise him. Yeah. Because that's my job is to look after the player, and that's it. That's the bottom line. Not my job. Every single football agent job.
Yeah.
So, I can't. It's not about looking after your own interests. It's about player and then yourself second.
Okay, sick.
That's how it should be anyway in an ideal world.
All right, cool. Moving on to the next question. What was the main challenges you faced when starting out?
Do you know what? I was quite lucky because I knew quite a lot of people in the football industry.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Me just growing up not being an agent or not doing that kind of work. Well, I mean, do you know what? The word agent and a football agent, for me, it has a stigma. So I would never even introduce myself as an agent.
Okay.
Maybe as a consultant, do you know what I mean? Because an agent, when everyone thinks, in my opinion, I think of sleazy, money-driven. No, this is the truth, right?
Yeah.
Sleazy, money-driven, someone that just wants their own benefit.
Yeah.
And I really don't see it like that, honestly. So I was quite lucky from that side to have good contacts. Obviously, the problem is that, people that maybe you worked in football and you helped them out, they stop trusting you because they think you're going to go behind their back, steal their player or do a deal without them and stuff. But for me, I've always been about building a team rather than being an individual. So, that's how I've seen it.
So you would say you didn't face many challenges starting out then?
No, obviously I faced loads, but when I mean challenges, I mean, getting to the players, getting to the contacts, getting to the right clubs. I was lucky enough to have most of that built over time.
Yeah.
And then I used it to channel it towards the agent side. You see what I mean?
You was kind of set up before and then bam, you're ready to go.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. Okay,
because
that's
when I decided to go to that angle, I just then exploited the challenge, the contacts.
Okay, sick. So how did it feel like getting your first deal, like breaking your first deal? It's gone through. You get the phone call, deal's done.
Nice.
How did it feel,
do
man?
Do you know what the best feeling is? It's not even that. It's about on a Saturday now, I'll be watching English TV. I'll be watching Italian TV. I'm watching Cypriot.
You're watching everything.
Online. Do you know what I mean? I'm watching everything because I'm just seeing players. Whether it's a player that I'm helping, whether it's someone on the bench, I'm just eagerly waiting for them to arrive on the pitch.
Yeah.
It's just that's what I live for, man.
Yeah.
It's just nice watching someone. And now, to be honest with you, I don't even watch my own club that much. I just watch the clubs where my players are.
Yeah.
Because that interests me more. It's a weird one, so it's moved from fan to.
I wanted to ask you something. Sorry, Igor. So I've been listening to like a lot of like people talking about football when it comes to transfers, and a lot of people think transfers are easy and straightforward and simple. Now, my understanding. So, all right, let me give you an example. So, in January, Arsenal put in a bid for Ollie Watkins.
Okay.
Right, and a lot of people were sort of, talking about that transfer. Does he want to go? Should he stay at Villa? Whatever. I mean, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, obviously from your perspective, the last thing that happens is the bid going in for the player. Normally, what happens is contacts happen between the like an agent and the club that the player wants to go to. So say for example, you're Ollie Watkins' agent, just as an example, you will have contacts of Arsenal, and Arsenal say, we want your player. And then you say, yeah, he's interested in joining your club. This is what we feel is going to take to get there. So am I right in saying that the last thing that goes in, or one of the last things that happens, is the bid? Before that, you have contacts with them. So 9 times out of 10, a club won't bid for a player unless the player wants to join.
Well, that is true in itself. But the main thing is obviously the relationship is built there, isn't it? You need to find out whether the player wants to go, whether the club can afford it.
Yeah.
What do you know what I mean? What the contract would be, what everything would be at the club that we've done. So, but basically, what you're saying is pretty much on spot on.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So that is the procedure that's followed.
Okay. So a club won't bid for a player unless they know that the player would be interested in joining. Basically.
I mean, look, if a club wants to come,
Tottenham did it.
With who?
Tell.
But then he joined in the end, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but he didn't want to cut. He
didn't want to go.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let me give you another example of a big transfer from
did it with
2 to 3 years ago. Who?
Caicedo.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
But he won at Chelsea, though, didn't he?
It was agreed, and then he goes, "Oh, I've been speaking to Chelsea this whole time." So I'm
But
gonna
do you think that's not after your bid and everything? Chelsea maybe went in last minute and they had contacts with the agent.
He was dealing with Chelsea the whole summer. That was why we were annoyed as fans as well. It's like, why are we just not bidding for this?
So another one, obviously a big saga that happened 3 years ago with Man United was with Frankie de Jong. So a lot of people were saying Frankie de Jong's not interested in joining United. He wants to stay at Barcelona and fulfill his contract. But at the same time, Frankie de Jong, like United bid 2 bids for him. So surely there must have been interest. So do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I understand that.
But generally, it is the way that we said it.
Look, as you know, in anything in life, it's politics, right? When I mean politics within an association. So obviously, if a player wants to go to, let's say, Man United needs to have all the right credentials there. The leaving club needs to have it. The agent, the player, the player's family, whoever's else involved. Maybe a club that's owed money from a previous transfer, etc.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's literally a lot of jigsaw parts that are put when we put puzzles completed, and it's not that easy. In retrospect, it's one player moving from one club to play for another club, and that's it. That's what's actually happening, right? But for us to arrive there is because, look, think about it. If you look at top elite players in terms of Premier League, Serie A, etc., like that, they're a business in itself. Each player will not only
their brands, their assets.
That's what I'm saying to you. They're a business. They're a brand. They're gonna have helpers. They will have their own, cooks, chefs. They'll have their own PT guys. They'll have everything literally. So it's not just as easy as pick up and go.
Yeah.
Because obviously you got to move. Then you got family, girlfriends, wives, children, etc. etc. If you look at the London clubs, why do the London clubs get more of the players easy than the Manchester clubs? Because of London. Because
location.
It's London. Do you know what I mean? It's location. Because at the end of it, if you think about it yourself, if you're a young couple and you've got a chance to go, let's say, go to a Newcastle. No disrespect to Newcastle, obviously a lovely place. And look at Manchester or Liverpool, you will 90% of the time choose London because you can do a lot more. It's easy to travel from. There's a lot. It's just a capital city. It goes for every country. So if you've got a choice of £100,000 a week at Man United and maybe £100,000 a week at Chelsea, or maybe 90,000 at Chelsea, but you've got all these benefits, maybe you'll go to Chelsea. Obviously it depends. Some people are fueled by money, location, but others are fueled by the history of the club, isn't it? Because obviously, sometimes you can't turn down certain clubs.
I got a question for you as well, speaking on that. So do you feel like girlfriends play a part in where players go? And
100%.
I don't want to go here. Like, women can be a bit demanding.
What will you say here?
They can be a bit demanding. Women can be a bit demanding and a bit like, listen, this is where we're going. And most of us men are suckers.
You know what?
All right, babes.
As it's 2025, we're going to say partners.
Yeah, okay, partners.
We're going to say partners, right? Because,
partners.
we're going to be politically correct here today.
Yeah.
Because obviously where I come from, everyone's 100% politically correct.
Our partners can be a bit.
There was something in the David Beckham documentary about that, wasn't there? When I think he almost didn't move to Madrid, or he found it hard the first year because I think whatever her name is.
Yeah,
Victoria,
Posh Spice, yeah.
He was just getting flights back and forth.
Yeah.
Like they almost didn't go because she didn't want to go.
Yeah, so did you find that?
He's spot on that. Listen, at the end of the day, you're in a relationship. First of all, your partner, right? Second of all, your relationship is work.
Yeah.
Because football for them is work. it's all got interlinked, and I think massively that plays a part. Like it really does, because at the end of the day, as I said to you, if you're coming to a city or a town or a village, whatever, and you're looking at all the amenities, you're going to choose the best place for yourself and your family.
That's true. Yeah, where it feels like home as well if you visit
And
places.
look, just let's think about this. If you go 15, 20, 30 years back, you know, the elite of English football, like for example, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, I don't know, Newcastle, Tottenham, whatever you want to look at, whatever clubs, they had you know, better training, better eating, everything. Now it's all even itself out.
It has,
if you look at, you know, when you look at the Prem, obviously I know there's difference of money, but the access that everyone has now, it's more or less the same.
Like Leicester City's training facilities, for example, they're world class.
Amazing.
What about Carrotons?
Amazing.
We're getting there.
It's leaking and what's it, bread and soup,
When that
innit?
GoFundMe comes in, yeah,
When that GoFundMe comes in.
it'll be all right.
Oh, you're joking.
But you know what? No, that training facility and stuff.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, so much, man. And honestly, clubs. If you, I was in Tottenham's 2 years ago, actually. No, 2.5 years ago. I spent some time. What training facilities they have there, man? Amazing.
Sick, yeah.
Honestly, they have a little hotel on site. Amazing.
Serious?
Yeah. Oh, wow. A1. Really is. And Leicester's is also. They spend millions. Wow. These guys going to the next level.
Yeah.
They really
Crazy.
are.
Yeah.
They just need to get it on the pitch.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah.
All right. Have you ever had any dodgy deals, or like not you doing a dodgy deal?
Is that what you're trying to say?
Now, has there ever been like a dodgy deal where you're trying to do a deal as in like and it doesn't feel right, and like how did you avoid it, or how would you avoid it?
Like a boss man situation.
Yeah, like
A boss man.
Do you know what? To be honest with you, I've been lucky enough not to. So I
not
can't-
come across anything
I
you
can't
feel like
really-
this don't feel a bit right,
No.
or yeah.
I mean, you know what it is. Sometimes because obviously I work in Bosnia, I work in Croatia, I work in other Balkan countries because that's where I originate from. Obviously, sometimes certain things that are put on the table, maybe just like from other countries, same as like African countries stuff, where we are less developed.
Yeah.
There might be certain things tried, but I've never been involved in that.
You've kind of been alright in that
Yeah,
sector.
you know what? You just got to use your head, isn't it? At the end of the day, what to make an extra 5, 10, 20, 30,000 pounds and ruin your name, is it really worth it?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Do you see what I mean? It's one of those things you got to choose a way.
Okay, sick. What's the most important qualities you look for in a player before representing them?
You know what? That is the bang on best question ever. So for me, and this is really funny how I choose my players, and I learned this from a couple of guys. Obviously everyone wants a good player.
Yeah.
But what I want in a player, and this is just me, I choose everyone, someone I can get on with, and someone that represents me off the pitch.
Yeah.
Because I can't control whether a player is good on a pitch, whether he plays well, he doesn't play well. Yeah, that's down to the player. But what I like is I want him to be sensible off the pitch, not obviously get drunk, do drugs, etc., be in the media. So for me, what is vital is I sit with a player for a couple of meetings. This is how I kind of quiz my players. This is how I interview them. If you want, and I'm sure they interview me the same. I kind of put questions where I try to get into their head. I want to see, what are you thinking in that scenario? If you are put in a situation A, or not on the pitch, because as I said, that's not my job.
It's off the
The
pitch.
club's going to choose that, and that's the club. Whether you have 10 bad games, that's nothing to do with me. But if you're going out on 10 bad nights, that's my problem.
Oh, it falls on you.
It doesn't fall in, but it does, because again, imagine you're a club. I've just brought you Frank as a player, and he's causing a load of mayhem in the background. You're going to call me and say,
What's going on?
"Are you okay? What is-"
Yeah. And
Right.
it gives you a bad rep because
Yeah.
like, he's bought this player and he's not good. Okay, so you've got to kind of not make sure, but keep them on a straight and narrow as much as possible.
For me, that's vital, especially when I'm looking at 18, 19, 20-year-old players, the ones that are, got potential going up. Honestly, for me, that's vital. That is number one for me, and it's quite interesting you asked that, because not a lot of agents look at that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all look at how good the player is, and obviously you want to make money and you want to help them in their career. But for me, this is attitude, personality, and then I look at how their family is, what they're doing, outside of football, what their interests are, etc.
You know what? I just to double down on that, actually. I remember there was a player that you were you had on your books a couple of years ago, and one of the first things you were saying to me is, what a family he's got. He's got a great family.
Yeah.
He got on really well with his dad.
That's important.
And they used to support him as well.
Yeah.
They used to support the player as well. He was looking at that and he was like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Look, man. Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, go carry on. Go.
No, I was just gonna say to you, when he said family, I just touched upon that.
Yeah.
You can't understand how much families and parents, whether
important.
it's mum or dad, break and make players. It's crazy. Some under support,
Yeah.
which is okay. That can be fulfilled. Some over support. You know, it's like me. Imagine I have a kid now and he scores a few goals. I automatically think he's the best.
Yeah.
And then my expectations are way too high. So I think for me, just going back to the question earlier, it's very important to kind of hold expectations of the parents.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because parents, obviously, you know, imagine you're proud your son's playing football. Maybe he's playing in a level which is not elite, but he's doing really well, scoring goals.
Yeah.
If I then come along and tell you, oh, sorry, it's not so good, you're going to look at me and think, what's wrong with this guy?
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And then you got that problem. Have you had that problem then where
Do you know what's
parents are thinking they want their son to go ahead and you'll say, listen, he's not
100%.
It's not good enough.
Do you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
I went to I got invited in Bosnia for a player that was doing well. He went abroad, he came back, played for the national team a little bit, etc. He's about 21 years old, right? His career kind of hit a stumbling block. So they called me, said, come and see him, come and have a chat, come and do X, Y, Z. So I went for an interview, sitting in a restaurant, me, the player sitting next to me, mum and dad.
Yeah.
And we're talking. And I'm here as a recommended to advise and try and help, not to make money.
Yeah.
Because not being funny, but you know, in certain leagues there is no money to be made.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing volume, and I'm not interested in volume. I like to do one or two good players, give them the best service I can. And halfway through the conversation, I just say stop and said, hold on. Do you lot think that I'm here to make money, or do you think I'm here for maybe contract 2 or 3? What that means is that let's get him out of here, move him to 1. There will be no money made. 2, and then potentially, if he's good enough, contract 3, we might see a bit of money. It's an investment, right? And they were like, yeah. And as soon as I explained to them that I couldn't give a whatever, they changed their tune and they kind of became warm to me. They kind of looked at me as if I came there to grab money. But the point was there wasn't even any money to be grabbed.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? And, you know, because as soon as parents think professional contract, you think millions.
Yeah.
You think my son tomorrow is going to be on 50 grand. No, but that's what they think, isn't it? Especially if you come, you know what I mean, from like that. So yeah, so that did happen to me last summer.
Okay.
Funny enough, and I was just shocked that they were like they were sitting looking at me. I was thinking, let's help, and if I was there to make money.
Let's move on to my next question. So, what is the biggest misconception people have about football agents? Because, like you said, they think you got money grabbing. You said before
there's a stigma behind it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stigma. Like, what do you think? What's the biggest misconception people have? And explain a bit how you really are, because
do you know what?
You can maybe show the camera like this is how we really are. That's how we really are. It's good to you can really.
And then some
show
comes
people.
on pages about me.
I might see in the mirror tomorrow.
Do you know what? Yeah, I mean, even myself, before I became a football agent, and even now in working industry, you do see some sleaze around.
Yeah.
And you do see people taking advantage of a situation. You know, if you look at going back to a few players that came from Argentina, played for Man United and Man City, if you look at what the agents done to them, a couple of other stuff, you know, because what you got to remember, recently the laws changed. So before, you could own a player almost. You could make contracts whatever you wanted. Now it's being put across board, you know, maximum contract to represent the players 2 years. Also, a lot of power now.
Is that right? Is it?
Yeah. A lot of power has been put back to the player.
Okay.
Previously, it was almost like the agent had to, not exactly, but I'm just, you know, going over the top, had to almost break the contracts. Now the players have it in their own hands.
Okay.
Players have been given a lot of power in the last 2 years. Also, before the club used to pay agents and stuff. Now even the players have that opportunity to pay the agents and stuff. So,
serious?
Yeah. So it's become a bit more player friendly from agents.
Okay.
You know, so for me, when you look at agents and when you look at historically, they don't have a good name. It's you know, they're just, you know, money grabbing, like just a bit of a Del Boy, you know, getting it moving it along and stuff like that. You know, taking advantage of the situation. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
That's.
I've actually got a question here. So I'm gonna take it back to Man United because it's the best example.
You lot just
really.
talk about Man United.
No, wait, hold on. It's the best example. So a few years ago, obviously, when Man United were paying big wages for a lot of players, like when you talk about Alexis Sanchez, when you talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, when you talk about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Paul Pogba, all these guys, they obviously, a lot of them had like big agents and everything. When things go wrong, a lot of clubs seem to point fingers, a lot of agents are said to point fingers and say, right, my player's doing all right, it's your player, or my player's doing all right, it's your player. Do you get conflict like that with other? So let's say, for example, you've got a player who's a striker, and another agent has got a player who's in the same team as a striker as well, but you know that player is not doing bits. and your players should be getting a shot. Do you then sort of step in? Do you ever intervene? Do you speak to the clubs? Do you say like what's going on?
What to the clubs? Of course we do. I mean, sorry, when you mean conflict, you mean between agents? Not
Potentially between, but I mean that would cause conflicts, wouldn't it, between agents?
Well, not really, because at the end of the day, my job and his job is to bring the player to the club, and then assist the player, obviously. So we've done our job in that sense. Obviously, it's down to the manager who plays and who they choose to play, sporting director, the board, for whatever reason. Maybe they fancy your player, maybe they fancy mine. But what we definitely do is we represent the player. We speak for the player.
Okay.
So if the player is on the bench, etc., or if the player's got problems, or if we think he's being mistreated by the manager, by the club, by whoever that may be, of course we'll do that. That's the whole point.
You step in as well.
Yeah, because the point is if you look at a club as a big entity, if you look at as a player as a small entity, obviously the reason that you have an agent is to represent you, someone to have your back.
Okay.
Right, your best interest at heart.
Okay.
So basically, I'm supposed to, not going to be every single game always substituted, but obviously you go and have a chat with the manager. What is he doing wrong? Why are you not playing him? What's the reason, etc.
Because I take it a lot of the players, they're young men. They're really young. They can't articulate themselves all the time. They can't, you know what I mean? Like they might not have the confidence to go and knock on the manager's door.
100%. A lot of players don't, and the thing is, it's difficult because we see them on the pitch doing crazy things. We see them in front of 50, 60,000 people, getting paid millions, driving fast cars, doing etc. etc. But sometimes it's confidence. It's one thing being on the pitch, and it's one thing being off the pitch. Two massive things. So yeah, it's definitely important. I think agents do a great role in that. Honestly, they do, because a lot of agents try to influence, obviously, for their player to play on the pitch. Because you almost act like a father and a mother, because that's what I do. I represent the player and the family.
Fair
and
enough.
I've had that.
You would want to see your player getting that, he's doing well, performing at the highest level.
Because you have a good relationship with him, don't you? You're speaking to him all the time.
With me, funnily enough, the majority of my players, I have that relationship with them. I feel like they're my brothers. So not that I'm going to say I take it personally, but you kind of take it to heart if they're not playing, because you want everyone to do so well, isn't it? So to me, it's like I want them to do well. So like I'll do it by my heart, and then obviously professionally you've got to represent them, etc.
So how do you balance like a player's personal goals with the expectations of the club, or like the club's goals if they don't sometimes align? Well, maybe you have a player that's shooting for the stars, and you've got a club that's like, for example, Man United, that aren't doing so well, or
that's gonna be the new Man United button, man.
We're just gonna keep going back to that, or that they aren't. Sorry, their goals aren't as high as what that player is that you've got.
Do you know what? You just have to try to move them. You got to try to get them a way out. You got to try and do something for them, because obviously, the point is that, and just going back to that question, which is actually a very interesting question, you got to try to place a player to a club which has the same kind of outside final ambitions, I guess. Because obviously, if I place a player that wants to go places and he's going to a club which, first of all, maybe haven't got the money, second of all, haven't got the team, and third, the coaching staff, etc., the infrastructure, then obviously he's going to be pissed off and he's going to be on my back every day.
Yeah. What about if it's like someone from a boyhood club? So you can maybe go with the example of Saka right now, right?
Yeah.
He's 23. He's been at Arsenal since his whole life, playing good. Let's say they still don't win a trophy in the next couple of years. If you were his agent, would you advise him to then?
Do you know what? That's a banging question. That really
go somewhere else.
Do you know what it is? Let's have a look at Harry Kane. Yeah, obviously Harry Kane, one of the best strikers in the Premier League, right? Being at Tottenham, done a great thing. Stunned by Tottenham. Now he's gone to Germany, obviously, because I'm sure that I wasn't part of the deal. I don't know anything, but I'm guessing maybe Tottenham didn't want to sell him to a Premier League club, etc., which is 99%. Now, if you're Saka, what do you do? What do you do? You've given everything you can to Arsenal. You're now 25, 26, let's say. You haven't won the league, presuming you haven't. Then you have to go, right? Because what do? Do you stay at... Because look, let's be honest or something. We have that whole stigma in our head with Man United players. So we had Gary Neville, Philip, obviously Ryan Giggs, Scholes, etc., etc. These were Man United boys that won and became legends. But did they become legends because they played for the club? Or is it because they played for the club and won things?
Yeah.
This is an argument with Bruno.
Do you see me? So what? I mean, I don't know the answer to that question. I'm just saying, what is the answer to that question? Because if you've played 10,000 games for a club, I know it's impossible, but let's say you did, and you won nothing.
It's pointless. Yeah.
You're known to that club, but you're not. I don't know. Are you a legend? I don't know.
If you break records.
It's
break
debatable.
records.
Yeah,
Like
it's an argument.
Kane's technically a Prem legend. In my personal eyes, I'd put Kane as a Prem legend.
But is he a Tottenham legend though?
Yeah, 100%.
Kane's 100%.
100%. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
You reckon?
Yeah,
He's the highest goal
without
scorer.
a doubt. Yeah,
He's a Prem legend.
He is.
Third on the
No,
Well,
but
Alan Shearer is a Newcastle legend.
Alright,
He never
but-
won anything with Newcastle. And Alan Shearer is the highest goal scorer in Premier League history and Newcastle's greatest ever goal
no, but
scorer.
Alan Shearer's run the Premier League.
Exactly.
With Blackburn,
But he
not
still
with Newcastle.
won. No, but he still won the Premier
So
League.
if, so if,
he won
okay,
them the Premier
so if
League.
Harry Kane comes back and wins the Premier League of Arsenal, let's just say, he's still a Tottenham legend.
I don't think you're gonna. You remember Harry Kane because he scored a lot of goals, but I don't think you'll remember him. See how like
Nah,
how
you're-
wait
you're
1
so
second, let
wrong.
me finish. Like how you remember a Thierry Henry. Do you understand what I'm saying? to you?
Because Henry
they
won
both scored a lot
things,
of
yeah.
goals. Obviously, Henry's a bit
But
different
Henry
player.
plays better with his feet.
No, but so Harry Kane was. I don't think you remember them the same way.
So
I
your
don't think
argument
you
is that
will.
Harry Kane's not a Spurs legend because he didn't win anything.
I don't think. Yeah.
But this is the argument I was.
I don't know. You know.
But you've got
it's a tricky one.
teams like
Yeah.
a team like Crystal Palace who never win anything. You're going to tell me that they don't have club legends?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they've never won a trophy.
Exactly.
They don't have any trophies.
To them.
Yeah, but
to
Harry
maybe, yeah.
Kane. Yeah, but Spurs haven't been successful for what 4 decades. At least in our lifetime, they've not been successful. We had Matt on the podcast a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago, and he was talking about when he was growing up. Yeah, they were successful, but they've not been successful in a lot. So in the last 3-4 decades, how many legends of Spurs had? Gareth Bale, you could argue, was he there long enough?
He wasn't
Maybe.
a legend.
Is Son
I don't
a
think
Spurs legend? He's been there for a
You
decade.
don't because they haven't won nothing. Like Kevin De Bruyne is gonna go down a Man City legend. You look at him, the way the things they've won.
I think it's what you achieve with the club.
It is 100%.
But okay, so Sean Goats
why-
is a
one
Man
second,
City.
so
Oh,
why
wait,
is
wait,
some-
wait.
why is some
Sean
not a
Goats is
legend?
regarded a Man City legend. Sean Goats didn't win anything with Man City, but at the time when they were struggling, he was there through thick and thin. Georgie Kinklatzy is loan, maybe not quite legend status, but he's got massive cult hero at Man City. What did he win? They were part of a 5-0 whipping against Man United. Do you understand what I'm saying? It all depends. It's all relative. This is my argument with Bruno, and I understand the example. But where Man United are right now, we're not good at all.
Yeah.
But Bruno's been carrying us for the best part of half a decade or over half a decade, and he's been getting goals and assists. So to me, he's still a club legend because
we
of
need to get
where
back
we're
to
at. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Conversation-
Sorry, derailed the
No, but-
conversation.
We're having a podcast.
You know what? This legend thing is interesting.
It's
because
good. Yeah,
for
go
me, I just don't feel like, and this is gonna, for me, I don't feel there's any legends anymore. It's crazy. Do you know
I
what?
feel the
do you-
same
do
way.
you- do you
I've
know-
been
do you know why I
through
feel
this.
this? Shall I tell you what it's for me?
Yeah.
You know, social media and the influence of everything now, it's like any player can become a legend, right? If I look at it, to me, like cult heroes and legends, to me, if I look at Alan Shearer, you knew when he lifted that hand and he ran after scoring a free kick, that's Alan Shearer. Eric Cantona, you know he put his collar up, you know that was Cantona. It was almost like there was no social media, but these guys had their own social media and kind of like, I don't
They're
know.
remembered.
Yeah. But like
yeah.
now, think about if you go on Instagram, for example, how many Arsenal players or Man United players or any players, Newcastle, Tottenham, whatever, they've all got millions of followers.
Yeah.
Yes
yeah,
or no?
Yeah.
So to me, I don't know. To me, like the last Tottenham legend, when you were talking about, I was thinking, Teddy Sheringham. So to me, Teddy Sheringham is more of a legend than Kane, which is crazy because Kane has better stats. Kane scored a lot more, but I'm just saying, in my mind,
Kane's done so much. for Tottenham.
but do you get where I'm coming from? Because now it's all social media, isn't it? Really, let's be honest.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
is an issue though, because like you got who is it? Endrick. I think Endrick before he even went to Madrid, he had like, I don't know, maybe like a couple 100,000 followers from playing in what was the team he was at?
Brazil.
In Brazil.
Was it Palmeiras?
Yeah, but them, and he was like 17. So like a lot of these people have like the PR before they're even superstars now.
Yeah, of course. Because it helps you sell, especially from a place like Brazil. You got quite a few youngsters who are up and coming. You need to sell the best product to wherever, isn't it?
So when you back to the question, so it was, what was you asking me about being a legend, innit? It was about, did you tell them to move on or become a legend at the club?
Yeah, exactly. So you were saying about the Saka thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a tough one because
Because that's the road he's gonna have to cross.
100%. But you know what?
Well, maybe not. Maybe he will win something.
We
at
might win the
Arsenal.
league this year.
Yeah.
Well, you won't.
No, well, if they go and win a domestic trophy next year, let's say a League Cup
Might
or
win
a
the
FA Cup,
Champions- we're still in the Champions
if they
League,
don't win
bruv.
the no, but he's right. We can't discount
we
that
can't.
because stranger things have happened in football.
Come on, man.
You know what is a
Don't
wild
knock
thing
Brighton
though?
off. What's the
Just
score?
from looking at him, actually, just from looking at Saka, I actually feel like he would probably you're 3-1 up.
Oh,
Shit.
swear.
Arsenal 3-1 up.
You're lying to me.
No, 3-1.
Oh my God. Red Army! Sorry, mid-interview, 3-1 Arsenal. Get in there. Let's
Hey, you
go.
guys are evens as well.
You might win the Champions League.
No, I feel like Saka would personally
Sorry,
probably
Saka's
stay
a
and
legend. Saka's done everything.
become a club legend rather than
Yeah.
do the big money move.
Get in there. Happy now.
But if Saka, so look again, if Saka stays, in my opinion, if Saka stays at Arsenal for another 6-7 years and doesn't win anything, but keeps doing what he's doing, playing well, getting man of the matches, scoring, getting assists, getting in the team of the season, all of that kind of stuff, potentially he will still go down as a club legend, in my opinion.
No.
Probably.
For what?
You think no?
Because it's not, for me,
Why?
it's just relative to, especially if Arsenal start like depleting again in terms of their performances and what their achievements. Because look, you Arsenal aren't, look, Liverpool aren't bums. Liverpool are quality. City aren't bums. They're quality. You're looking at some quality sides. When it was Man United and Arsenal going for the league title, realistically there was only 2 clubs going for the league. It was Man United and Arsenal. If you finished above Arsenal, you won a league. If you finished above Man United, you won a league. End of.
Yeah, but it's always
Do you
like
understand?
that. It's been like that now.
Yeah, but it's not
always two
because
teams.
yeah, but no, but you say that, but it's not 2 teams because no one saw Liverpool winning the league this season.
Yeah, but it's been
Everyone
Arsenal,
thought it would be
Liverpool,
City
so
or
it's-
Arsenal.
No, but it's always still like
No, but that's
it's
tough to
changed,
say.
but it's still 2 teams. The City's fallen off.
No, to say City's going to listen, you know what?
But
For City just to win it again this year would just not. It's just been impossible, really. Come on, man. Like, how many
Wouldn't have
times
been
you gonna win in a
impossible.
row?
It
No,
wouldn't
but
have been impossible.
How many times are you going to win in a row?
Well, if
It's,
I mean,
it's
I
it's a
think
chances thing, right?
I think the reason why.
Bayern did it.
Yeah, but
Celtic.
look, so you're telling me if Rodri
Nonsense,
didn't
we're
get
going-
injured?
we could talk
I know,
about
but
something. You're going back to
we'll
football.
swing it back. We'll swing it back.
Yeah.
But if Rodri didn't get injured in November or whenever it was, are you telling me City wouldn't be 10, 15 points better off right now? Of course they would. Without a shadow of a doubt, they would.
Let me finish.
So that would have been a 3-horse race.
Let me finish the interview.
Sorry.
Sorry. All right, sorry. Back to it.
Tell me.
How do you stay ahead of the competition in such a fast-moving industry? How do you stay ahead of
Good question. Do you know what? I don't think there's any way to stay ahead of the competition because at the end of the day, what that would mean is that you'd be getting the first player that, you know, next superstar, next Ronaldo, next Dan, or whatever else it is, isn't it? I think that's difficult. I think all you can do is you just position yourself in a way that you're approachable, people want to come to you. And for me, I would say the only answer to that is recommendation. Because I think that being recommended is better than, because I've never, till today, gone out and approached a player. You know, I've always been approached by players or recommended by players.
Okay, that's good.
Honestly.
So you got a solid name out there then.
Yeah, it's not about solid name. It's about, you know, if you recommend me to Frank to do something for him, he's going to more likely take it than if I go to Frank and knock on the door and say X, Y, and Z.
I reckon, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you know, because not really advertising. Obviously, for me, I work for myself and I can work as part of an agency.
Yeah.
So it's easier like that. I guess if I had the 20, 30 people working for me in my agency, that would be different. You'd have to go and get the work out, the numbers.
Okay.
For me, I just choose what I want to work with, and you know, obviously they've got to like me and I've got to like them to get on.
So you like close with scouts and stuff like that then? You
Yeah,
work closely with
yeah,
scouts,
of course,
obviously,
of course.
because they're the ones that's out there finding good talent as such.
Yeah.
Kids in Brazil, obviously we know the Brazilians are good at football. So when they approach you and say, look, there's this young kid in Brazil, he looks very good, you're interested in working with him, or
100%.
stuff like that,
Do
basically.
you know what I have? I've never worked with people,
Yeah.
ex-footballers that are in football still now and that are not.
Okay.
I have footballers now playing
Yeah.
currently. I also have coaches. I have agents, other agents.
Okay.
I have also people that know about football.
Yeah.
And I also have, what do you call it? I have also directors of football and scouts.
Okay.
So if I have a player that is recommended to me by a person, I'll put his name to these 7, 8, 10 people
Okay.
and see what the feedback they'd give me about this player.
Okay.
And also we have scouts as well, depends on what level it is, to actually go and watch the games, scout the player, make sure and all of that stuff, yeah.
Okay.
It's a big network, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
That's one of my questions. How important is networking? Because that was one of my questions. Isn't
Number
it?
It's
one.
going to be everything. That'd be everything.
Number one.
Networking, yeah,
It's
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
That's like it in life, though, really.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
it's not what you know, it's who you know, innit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
as they say.
It's about who you know, because at the end of the day, you know, you could be the best agent in the world, you could have the best potential, but if you don't know that person to open the door, it's not open, is it?
So it's not going to open.
'Cause
Yeah.
let's be honest, there's 100 people knocking. We're not all going to fit through that one small door, are
Yeah,
we?
we've been knocking. I've been in people's DMs. I've been knocking on doors.
Ian Wright.
But I think you'll get there, though.
Yeah, but we're getting this.
Light
slowly,
is
man.
fine. This will do
Yeah,
good. I
Thank
have
you,
a good
man.
feeling about this.
All right,
honestly.
cool. So get us some players on there. knock, knock.
Get rid of Frank and we replace him with a player.
See you later, Frankie boy.
Deal done.
Back to Manchester.
It's all right, I'll take a rest, man. I'll
That was
take a
the
rest.
easiest negotiation I've ever seen. Player transfer.
Are you guys got any more questions? That's my question.
Yeah, have there been
15 minutes, yeah.
like any players that you've started off good with and then it sort of ended sour maybe, or their behaviour off the pitch?
Yeah, you know what? For me, it's been more, but with the family, I've had a couple of players where I've invested a lot of time into. And the thing with me is I'm a funny one, to be honest with you. I don't believe in contracts, which sounds ridiculous. What I'm saying to you, 2025. For me, a contract is a piece of paper. If you want me to represent you, you'll stay with me. If you don't, you won't. I don't think that a contract will bind you to me. And I wouldn't want you to stay with me because of a contract. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I kind of have gone around with a few players, especially younger players. When I mean young, I mean 18, 21, 22, developing players and stuff where you invest a lot of time and effort, and then, you know, the dad or the mum or the family, wrong advice, etc., etc. And then now I'm looking at that player 2-3 years down the line. My plan for that player was completely different. I look at where he is and he's below par. He's definitely not in the place where he should. So yeah, that's happened to me a few times. You invest your time into that stuff. Go on.
No, go on, Tom.
Maybe we have the same question.
Go on.
Has there ever been something like that where then they've ended up going, you know, you've got them in this direction, they've gone this way, and then you've seen that a few years down the line and you thought, well, I did have hope for them, so let me reach out to them and see if I can get them back on this path where I can
100%.
see them.
You know what? This is my personal opinion. One big mistake that players make. So players that were at a certain level make this mistake, and players that want to get to a certain level. So let's say you got a player that was playing up, I don't know, for example, let's say he was playing for Bristol Rovers, let's say. So he's played at an okay level, and then he's fallen off for whatever reason, right? Now, what he will do in that position is he'll then try to, you know, go with me, another agent, put himself around. But the thing is, no one's going to put the effort to build your career back up if you're going around. Do you know what I mean? You want the best of everything. You want your cake and eat it too. So a lot of players make this mistake. Honestly, I've seen it so many times. Players come to me as well. I've had it last year. I had a few players I work with. You know, they don't want to commit to you. They want to kind of all
Explore to see what else is out there.
And then what happens is nothing is, and then they go back down. Because the thing is, obviously, you're not going to put the effort in if someone's not committing to you. So yeah, man, all the time. And it's sad for me. It's sad because for me, I've done obviously I've done coaching as well. So I've got a level of knowledge of football. So when I look at football, I look at a game. What I think that I had as an agent is that I will look at my player's game and say to him, listen, you should have been in this position at that time. You should have done this and that. Whether they take that advice or not, that's down to them. But I can give them that advice for free. And obviously that helps them play. And I've seen a number of my players, when I advise them on where to position themselves, what to do more of, it's benefited them to start scoring more goals, getting more appearances, you know, getting more minutes, assists, etc. So yeah, definitely, 100%, man. It's a shame that happens.
Go on, you got a question? Go on.
I'll ask my mind. Go on.
I noticed you said about I had this plan for you.
Yeah.
So in your mind or in your notes, whatever, do you have like a route for a player? So say like if they say he's at QPR for now. Do you have like, we're going to go to QPR for 2 seasons, then we're going to try and get you into, say, Chelsea. And then from Chelsea, I want to get you to Real Madrid. So you will set out a plan.
A route, yeah.
Most
A route,
definitely.
like a
Yeah,
route
yeah.
or...
For every player.
Maybe, yeah, like, is there certain clubs of a route you might take a person?
Do you know what it is? Obviously, so look, I have I class clubs. Let's say, you know, like just the same way you got Premier League, Championship, whatever. I class clubs. So ultimately, there are clubs where my connections are best at. Like, let's say if that's a Real Madrid or a Man United, Juventus, doesn't matter. I'm just giving you an example. So I want to get that player ultimately to that club. Now, obviously, there's a route we have to take. Sometimes we get there, sometimes we don't. But you know, that's my job, mate. That's what I do. I've got to plan the route, and for me, that's part of it. And then obviously, whether the player believes it, because remember, I have to believe in the player.
Yeah.
He has to believe in me. Everyone behind has to believe in him, and the coach to give him the minutes on the pitch has to believe in him. Yeah. So it's a whole together thing.
That's something else I want to ask you. Because sometimes a player might have to take a step back. You might be in a Premier League.
I was just thinking that as well, yeah.
You might have to go to a championship team
for an injury or contract up or something.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And how do they take that? Have you had a player that's had to say, listen, look, you're not getting no minutes here. We need to go back
to
get forward again.
I'll give you an example, right? I won't name the player. So I had a player that played at quite a high level, right? Premier League level. So had injuries, etc. Lost his way a little bit. So I wanted to put him into a league which was about 3 leagues below. I called up another player, ex-pro, an advisor of mine, and he said to me, the biggest problem you're going to have is that player knows he needs the times, he knows he needs minutes, but he's not going to be able to drop those levels down mentally because that will scar him.
Ego.
You know, imagine you're driving a luxury Mercedes and then all of a sudden now you've got to drive, I don't know, a Fiat that's like, 20 years old. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You don't feel that status, right? Maybe you're not an arrogant person, but that just makes you feel good, right? So anyway, cutting a long story short, this particular player tried to explain to me to go levels down, to go levels back up, right?
Yeah, to work our way around,
Wouldn't do that. Wasted 2 years' time. Comes back to me after 2 years.
I want to do it.
We done exactly that. Now, He's back where he is.
He's meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's back now in Premier League football, and I don't mean Premier League football in England, but I mean Premier League football in Europe.
Yeah.
As in, first tier football. So, you definitely have to do that. And as a player, you got to be open. And you know what the funny thing is? If you look at the amount of players that was in the Prem doing bits maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you'll be surprised. Some of them at the age of 28, 29, 30 have got no clubs, which is crazy. If you look at the amount of players that are free agents, it's crazy. Certain strikers that were, you said Palace earlier, certain strikers that were scoring 100, well, not 100, but 20, 30 goals at Palace haven't got a club now.
Why are players free agents? What is it?
Look, we all believe in ourselves, right? And we all have value for ourselves. Whether you work in a supermarket, whether you play on a football pitch, sometimes players get carried away by who they are. Sometimes players think they're better than they are. Sometimes they're misadvised, which is a lot of the time. You know what they say to you, I'm sure that your parents said to you lot, you got to surround yourself with good people to achieve things. If your friends are pulling you back, your friends are doing bad things, you're going to be doing the same. So, I think who you surround yourself with as a football player
It's important.
Bro, it's the most important because they'll people stand beside you.
Yeah.
People give you advice. They don't need to tell you on the pitch, they need to tell you off the pitch. How you spend your money, where you go out, who you socialise with, the things you do, and the things the things you do just in your whole life. So yeah, I think that, man, it's so hard. It's so hard being a footballer, really is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad advice there, man.
I can imagine. Do you advise players on how to invest in things like that, or do you keep that? Is that more personal for them?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think, when sometimes you involve money in everything, it's a bit more difficult. Obviously, if a player asks me for advice, put them with the right person, but that's not my forte.
That's not your forte. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Advice. But if they want to give me something extra, that's no problem.
You know what? I was actually going to ask you. You were talking earlier about like when families get involved, it can be quite conflicting and stuff. Would you say that you're in a better position to advise them on their careers and where they should go rather than the families? Not just because of your contacts and your profession, but because for you it's a job. Whereas they're more emotional, they're more emotionally involved. Does that make sense? It's a bit like when we were speaking to shout out JR, man. When we were speaking about him last week, when I asked him about, did you get the support from your family in doing what you wanted to do? Because family influence is a big deal.
100%.
But like I said, with families, it's always emotion. Like your mum and dad will always be emotional, whereas your job is a job. So of course the emotion is there because you said earlier you feel like they're your younger brothers.
And you want them to win.
Yeah, but at the same time, yeah.
Do you know what? You're 100% right. I was in a meeting in a club in Wales, right? That's in the championship, right? So one of my players. So the dad's sitting next to me like this, and I've got the director of football over there across the table talking, and I can see the dad. So I got to get the dad like squeeze his leg. I'm squeezing his leg. This is no joke. To not say this thing because the dad's going. Yeah, listen.
Pause.
I'm squeezing the dad's leg because I see what he's going, the road's going down because we can't be saying that because it's emotional. The dad just wants to say emotion, but sometimes you got to play the game.
Yeah.
You have to be intelligent what you say because if I come out here and start effing and blinding, etc., people then don't take you seriously.
Yeah, that's how his dad was.
No, but this is the thing. You got to keep your composure. Sometimes you do need to tell them straight, but you got honestly. So I was there, and it was the second time I met the dad. And he came out afterwards. I swear he had my fingerprints. I was like, no, but I said, no, but do you know what I said after? I said, you know what? You never come into a meeting again with me. You tell me what you want. No, but this is the truth. Because look,
that is just funny because I just know you and I know how you would have said it to us. So next time you don't come.
Yeah, exactly. But the funny thing is that if this what do you call it, director of football takes a dislike to the father, going to take dislike to the child.
Yeah.
Of no reason for the child, and then wiping the child then gets put out. He wasn't a child, he was 19-year-old boy, but I mean, he's going to be put to the side for what?
So do parents, having a bad parent, could it mess you up across the board? Like
1,000,000%.
Do clubs say, look, stay away from him? The
100%,
parents across all different clubs, yeah?
100%.
Crazy.
Listen, there's a couple of players and there's a couple of parents, etc., that people always say like,
stay away from.
Oh, swear.
Honestly, it happens all the time. It's like you say, how is, I don't know, John Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, he's good, but his mum and dad,
it's a headache.
Oh, he's got a mum that's, or he's got a dad or a brother, or, that person, honestly.
That is hilarious, man.
Yeah, but think about it. If you've got a child and you're crazy for him, and you're going there and you're running across the yellow line, and you're trying to officiate the games.
Yeah.
Think about what manager's going to want to manage that.
Yeah.
Same as an agent, because listen, think about something. We become the players' brother, dad, sister, mum, girlfriend, everything, because he confides in you, right?
Yeah.
Because he's talking about something very personal, which is his career, his life, and you got to advise him. So, you know, if the parents have been
Must be hard. It must be hard being an agent because you can't be disrespectful and say, look, chill out because it's someone's child. But you're not saying it from a bad place. It's from a place, it's from a place from, this is what we need to do, and you're moving a bit.
He's trying to stay cool.
Yeah,
and
you
stay
need to
calm,
stay a bit calm, and you're not getting it. And it's hard. It's hard
Do
to
you know what, the
navigate
way
around
that I was taught in the agent world, which maybe is right, maybe is wrong, whatever, is for me, I take the player personally in the sense that I like to get to know the player, the family, and then build. Others don't. Others are very cutthroat. I'm going to do the deal. I'll leave you at the club. You do your thing.
Yeah.
When you're ready in 2 years or a year, whenever to change clubs, come back to me. You know, there's two different kind of agents.
Okay.
I'm the hands-on agent, maybe because I'm a bit younger still, maybe because I want to do things in it. So yeah, but some agents just leave. You know, we've had players that went to clubs like Liverpool. For example, one guy I knew went from Benfica to Liverpool, one of the biggest signings for Liverpool. I didn't know him at that time. I spoke to him, etc., etc. Why didn't you do so well when I met him 2 years later? He said, you know, they dumped me as a 20-year-old kid from Benfica to Liverpool. He left me in Liverpool. You know, he goes, my car was getting smashed. I didn't know what to do. This, when to do that. Because you sometimes think to yourself,
What player was that?
sometimes they think that, you know, clubs, etc., etc.,
That's
etc.
right.
But you can't do these things. You sometimes think to you, it's crazy, bro. It's not the one. So yeah, you gotta be careful how you treat your players, man. You know, some people take it serious, some don't. It's whatever. It's like anything in life, you're doing it.
Run out of time. You only got any more questions, guys?
No, that was some eye-opening stuff, man.
It was sick.
A
I
lot of
enjoyed
stuff
that, man. I got
did,
for my questions. You answered very well, man. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for having me, man.
Oh, I've got a question. Can you get one of your players on the pod?
Listen, the next contract I signed, the first term the contract is gonna be, he's got to come on.
On the bench podcast. Yeah, we need that signed in, signed and sealed in.
I've got a mate that's knows Chilwell because they play at Leicester together. So I was trying to get him on the pod. Chilwell.
They play with Leicester.
They grew up
Chilwell,
playing Leicester together. I got him to message Chilwell, and he was like, "No." He got back to me. He said, "No." His agent told him focus on football because obviously he was at Chelsea.
Oh, it's you guys that block it, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's like, he wants to
agents were
focus on
coming through.
I was gonna
It's a
sneak
joke.
out now.
They're blocking us coming on the podcast.
Yeah, so
Okay, sick, man. But it's nice having you on, man.
Thank
And
you, man. Nice to be here.
you lot a bit secretive, innit? Your socials.
No,
and
he's
stuff. Are you alright with social media and that? Do you want to plug your
Yeah.
socials and that?
No, man, it's cool. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
See,
good.
I told you.
The agency name. What about the agency name?
I'm gonna plug you lot on my social media, man. Come on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's it.
Get some real followers. Get some real big footballers. And then
Don't
we
do
can
it.
ask him and DM him for the.
I've been jumping in DMs, man. I'm a
Ian, right?
DM stalker.
Oh, can I shout out Jared Bowen real quick? Jared, listen, where's the camera? I know you see me. I'm not gonna say where, but we locked eyes in Tesco. the car park Monday.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to screw face you. I apologise. I was kind of shocked that I was looking at you. Also, he's got really nice blue eyes, man.
Oh my god.
They were beautiful. They were beautiful. But no, Jared, listen.
And that was on the bench podcast.
I should have took the time to say I'm on a podcast and please come. So if you ever see this and you remember this look, please come on the pod.
All right, and that was on the bench podcast. Hope you enjoyed the show. And like, subscribe, comment, follow, and we'll be back next week, man. And that was the biggest Bumble Club moment ever, man.